I'd like to welcome you to the Friday version of the Thought for the Day. It's good to be together. The words for today come from the Old Testament book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. My guess is we all have plans, don't we? And sometimes our plans work out and sometimes they don't. I remember back in 1974 when I came here so many years ago in seminary, they were always asking us, what are your plans? What's your vision for what your ministry is going to look like? And I had plans, and I had outlines, and came here in 1974, and my gosh, kind of the plans went out the window, and just had to kind of take it day by day, because a lot of plans that I had for my life and for the church, they didn't work out, but they are what they are. But instead of having plans, I found out that I had footsteps. I remember just before the pandemic, when the church was just chock full of people almost every Sunday, and suddenly we had to close, and then we kind of reopened, and we're kind of inching our way back, and I realize now it's not about having plans. It's about listening to the footsteps that we share with God's Spirit. It's more like taking it a day at a time and maybe realizing that a lot of our plans aren't going to come true. I think of the Ukrainian farmer, the harvest. They have some of the most incredible farms in the world. And then almost overnight, the Ukrainian farmer, his plans are destroyed by the face of evil. And what does the Ukrainian farmer have now? He has footsteps. He has a God who holds him in the palm of his hand. I think of the lady Kim, a good friend of one of you who we've been helping out, and her son Jimmy and his fiancee Bonnie. And they had plans too, They planned their wedding, they planned their life, and those plans didn't include Bonnie having a long journey with cancer. Well, she has a journey with cancer, and they got married this past weekend. And now it's not so much about the plans, it's about the footsteps as they take their life one moment and one day at a time. Because sometimes if we don't think so much about our plans, but we think about our footsteps, it's in those footsteps each day that we are blessed with God's Spirit. I even think of my son Q, He was just a few months old when we met him at Heartland Children's Home, and we had plans, When he was 2 years old, we adopted him, we brought him here, but a lot of those plans didn't come true. They didn't include being diagnosed with autism, but there was all kinds of footsteps, and now 22 years later, those footsteps they're a gift, and it's in the footsteps that we see God. Last night, I read a poem from Maddie Stepanek. Maddie, we've read so many poems about Maddie Stepanek that one of our newer members said, was Maddie a member of your church? And I said, well, maybe spiritually, but Maddie was born in 1990, and he died in 2004, and I guess his family had plans for him too. They probably didn't include a ventilator and wheelchairs and dying at the age of 13, but in those 13 years, wow, his footsteps. He listened to God's Spirit, and God's Spirit came alive in his poetry. And I'd like to share one of Maddie's poems that he wrote shortly before he died. And the words are beautiful. I'm not sure I can do them justice. Here's what he says. Let our breath be the gentle wind. Let our ears be those who listen to others. And let our hearts not be ones that rage quickly and blow dramatically and uselessly, but let our spirits attend and be diligent to the soft yet desperate whisper of hope and peace in our world. Let our souls be those that watch for the Lord, waiting with wonder and with want. Yeah, I'm sure for Maddie and his family, a lot of those plans never came true. But sometimes if we take our plans and maybe put them aside if they don't come true, we can just take those soft and gentle footsteps. The footsteps that get us through each day, the footsteps that give us the courage to face tomorrow. And it's in those footsteps that the Spirit of God speaks to us. I imagine that God has a plan for the world, and maybe God has his own plans for each one of us. But it's not so much about our plans. It's about the footsteps that we take each day. And when we know that God is in our footsteps and with us, it gives us the strength and the courage to face the unpredictability of tomorrow. And that's what binds us together. God, it's good talking to you on Friday, and I look forward to seeing you at 8:30 and 11 o'clock on Sunday. God bless.